So in the studio, we've been joined by the Freetown City Mayor, Yvonne Akisoya, and she's here to talk about what really happened on August 10, among other things, but specifically looking at peace and how, should we drive the conversation going forward. Good morning and welcome to the show, Madam Mayor.
Good morning, Samuel. Good morning, viewers. Good morning, listeners.
First off, let's get to understand what does the City Mayor make of what happened on the 10th of August in Freetown?
Well, tragic is definitely a key word. And Samuel, I'm wondering if, given how important this is, if we can speak Creole?
Go ahead.
Okay, because I want to let people there understand.
Go right ahead,
you know. No, it's very tragic. And on the day, on the morning where it happened, I begin to see the things in our social media. In fact, I get calls. And I can me go watch. And I respond by going onto social media myself and calling for calm, calling for peace, let people then stop violence, and really asking the security sector as well as residents of Freetown for letting them do that. The call I get being described a scenario where tear gas was fired, two youth, I understand. Of course, I can't validate that because I'm not being Diddy, but it's what I was told, and say that lead to anger, where spill over, where youth man, their way, as then describing, it's not Omolanke guys, them we be sit down, they wait for business for camp, that they now begin for agitate and so on, and join, you know, I guess something that was already ongoing. But as you say, wait till we want for talk about now, because His Excellency the President don't say he could do an investigation. Right. So wait till I believe say we as Freetonians for the do now for talk about how we put this behind us and make sure say we focus on the things where we can together, because ultimately no city, no country, not develop where you get kuskas, you get, you know, draw. Yeah, so I go stop there and give you a chance to ask you next question. You know, something about the way if you left me, I'm going to go no more.
You know, let's get to look at the antecedents. For many, there are different factors responsible for what happened August 10. Some are attributing the incident to socioeconomic factors. Some are attributing that to politics. And of course, conspicuously, your name is being mentioned as one of those, fanning the flames, as one of those responsible for what happened August 12. So why, August 10, sorry. Why were you caught up in all of that?
I don't think I was caught up. I think I was put into, not caught up, put into. Samuel, I think you and I were here back in March 2021, where a conversation behind closed doors in an office setting, where being be about process and not people, being recorded in February of 2021. And then when in March, 6 weeks later, I take a stand and say, no, there's a process issue here about the recruitment of staff. That audio, which had been recorded behind closed doors, not a public statement, was doctored and pushed out for giving impression, say, Mayor tribalistic. That was in March 2021. And in that 10 days from now, the person where the name is mentioned over and over again, who was the staff who was not recruited by council, which was being put into council, contrary to the Local Government Act, when at that I've been the reject, when at that I've been the stand against, we work so closely together. Everything about me life not fit in to the narrative that was being pushed back in March 2021. But I'm not for surprise, because this is the same mayor where I don't be the subject of ACC investigation for something where is defined as corruption, and yet that is, make I just be explicit, then nobody not forget, which is the travel expenditure of the MDU team lead, way being recommended by the CA, signed, approved by me, because I know they approved nothing unless they recommended, approved by me, signed by the CA, signed by me, signed by the FO. Whenever you get anti-corruption case in a council, all the vote controller, number one, 9 at the key person.
Right.
Then beyond that, the 3 signatories. In my own case, just me, everybody else out. And as you know, I continue maintain, say me are innocent of that, and I know the acceptam, say I commit any fraud or any corruption. Those were legitimate expenses, will be approved, signed off, go through all the council procedure, nothing hidden, nothing. But then again, I also be the subject of special audit. You know, for projects then will be done by, the special audit was commissioned, I believe in February of this year. We're now in August. I not seen no report. I say report don't go to Parliament. I've never seen a copy, never seen a draft, which is what you're supposed to do in audit. If you don't do audit of somebody, if you can't show them, so that the person get opportunity for respond. But me saying one again, don't be the subject of administrative inquiry. Me saying one again, don't be the subject of having property rates stopped. So I want to come back to this. When you say I caught up, no. I believe say this is a pattern. I don't believe say I caught up.
So I just wanted to. I just want to ask now. I mean, in essence, you're saying you're not responsible. You are being targeted.
I'm not saying that.
What are you
because
saying?
The other thing is we have to be very careful now. Right. It seems like say anything you say can be used against you. But at the same time, we are in a democracy, and it's very important for let people not reach a point where they're afraid for even talk than truth. This is my truth. I had no role. An incident which was taken totally out of context, a conversation behind closed doors, video, audio taken, doctored, released in March for coincide with me taking a position against a procedure. That then March, today, this is now August. That's 1.5 years. Yvonne Akisoya, in everything I do. In fact, this morning, send a message out. I put on Facebook, and I put on social media, Twitter, also na WhatsApp. I remind we all of the love, the harmony, the peace, the gladdy where we share as a city in the week of the 230 anniversary celebrations. I post the video back because it was like, yes, this is who we are as a city. We all come together, regardless of ethnic background. This is not a country where intermarriage, go school, live together, and be cousin, be best friend. They happen across all ethnic divides. And new life and everything where they do. Now the council day, the person where being mentioned, where Imama visits recently from America, he introduced Imama to me. He said, "This is my other mama. That's me. That's me." I'm not being calling him because I don't put him in a tight spot to make you feel uncomfortable. But people then they talk in the council say, "Hey, I'm mayor picking that one day." So let people then not take something out of context and try for paint me as somebody where I not be.
Okay.
I have never made tribal, divisive, ethnic, dividing speeches ever.
But you are aware that the unfortunate situation in Sierra Leone, or the political architecture in this country, is divided along those lines. It is very clear. When you talk about the south and the east, you have to attribute that to the green. Talk about the north and the west, you have to attribute that to the red. So just the structure of our politics is regional in it, by default. And now you being the mayor of the city, now with all of what is going on currently, the crisis we're faced with, as a people, what are the things, what would you consider the informative way forward in addressing some of the critical challenges that continue to divide Freetonians, for example?
So one thing definitely in that speech, that is absolutely critical. So again, I'm saying, that conversation, that audio, which is referred to over and over and over again, the very act of taking something which was, I don't explain, you don't say, if I had an issue, if I was tribalistic, and I had a challenge with the people in my institution, the kind of closeness and harmony we would work with, not before be. There's nobody we go turn around, you know. So being ready to say, oh, so somebody put out something where clearly not align with how this woman they behave. Let's drop it. But then to now say, no, let's feed it. Let's feed it, you know, but it's not just that. So let's not make this about me, because we talk about the city,
right? And
the city is everybody, okay? But again, I go say the same things. You know, we get to make a conscious decision. You know, ever move forward if you divide. If you look me Facebook post them from 2018 to now, you go, if you just Google the expression hashtag further together, I can't tell you the number of times, the hundreds, if not thousands of times I post that, because I believe that. I believe say further together. Samuel, 2018, we all remember, or maybe you don't, but I remember vividly, the incident where Pussy knocked me. I make a decision,
right,
not for talk Uda knock me. I got hit by so many people, but I make a conscious decision, because I've been no say if I talk, na division. This was just after the election. There are lots of video of another situation later that year of myself and a minister in a woman. We say we want to encourage women to be in politics. But if women are in politics, then posting the team up and accost them in the way that that kind of altercation being get, accusing with hands so close to the woman in face. Then they do for put person awful. But even after that, what do I do? I make the conscious decision for say, the action of an individual does not reflect the position of an institution. I make that decision and I continue, and I will always continue. As we did left here, so as me they come in,
Kalilu Tutange.
Yes, Kalilu, they left. We hug Wisef. He says, sister, a long time. I say, brother, Are, you know, we're not at war, and we should make sure that in all that we do, we never go to war. In Jesus' name.
How do we get the people to understand that's the path? Because evidently, there are weaknesses that some people, used to exploit, and there is also the part of government that is not being fulfilled. You know, earlier I asked about, well, especially when we are socioeconomic rights are not justiciable. Because if I feel that government cannot, forgive me, government cannot put food on my table, create ways for me to put food on my table, then I have an access to go to the court, then I will choose that option. But again, in a society where all of those things, are non-justiciable, we have to rely and look forward to government. It's their obligation to ensure that the right environment. But some of those things are critically challenged at this point. Plenty of people are angry, which is evident. The economic hardship is unbearable, it's evident. But again, what many peace experts are saying, politicians are exploiting those areas now to fan the flame. So what should be done at this point to get things, into perspective and let Sierra Leoneans, especially Freetonians, understand the current state of affairs and support in the drive to achieving economic, stability? So
one thing very important, it comes back to this question of what is said, okay? I don't be in the unfortunate situation,
right.
Much to me shock and dismay for actually, just imagine, Samuel, waiting person to do on social media, it just take one Christmas for let go do in physical, you know, right? So if, again, I come back to this thing about women in leadership, women in politics, if we are saying we want to encourage women in politics, then if you have a view, and I don't tell you say you view wrong, because for you to say that waiting I talk in 2021, we don't be explained, and we all me life and everything what they do, and all the and relationships that we get, and the working atmosphere, na me me institution not align with that narrative day, if you continue for peddling, then you dey make people them way not know me one day, not ever meet me, then they grow for hate me. Then they write thing them na social media. Then one day, like on Wednesday, people then go na council, then go na the Met office, then they calls me mama, you know, then they threaten for burn the place on Thursday. That's why I called the chief administrator, say, hey, see, big, talk to them guy out, because it'd be terrible for let we get a fire in a council. So you see how social media conversations can lead to the physical action. So just imagine, say that they happened to me, where you go say, well, she's an elected official, she's got some level of protection. Just imagine waiting to happen at community level. We say, person not get a protection. So the whole thing has to be a deliberate exercise. I've been listening to Alpha Kanjis now and Valnora. And one of the things that we didn't talk in 98.1 is again this point, the same point what he make. There has to be a conscious effort for a situation where, and I wrote that in my piece on the first day. I say we need for de-escalate. If tension don't dey, yes, Samuel, you don't talk, say there are challenges. The challenges, they're real. But you know what? Facts, not the answer to that question dey.
Right.
Now make we dey in waiting and call a democracy. Waiting a democracy. Democracy, Latif, Lily Bit from Dr. Injai, Alaji. Because myself do government, really. But I just want to reference him because he spoke so well.
Ahead.
But myself, I do government in school, and I do government as part of my economics, my first degree in economics. It talk about democracy being the people. You know, it's government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Right.
Let me break down and lay down. What does that really mean? That means to say, that man at the corner shop, that woman na market, that youth man na car wash, you know, whoever and wherever you be, the government, na you, they pick them, na you, then they work for, na you, then they represent. Now that's not democracy. Then we get another added layer. We call them multi-party democracy. That means to say, not to one party na aim una they get this choice. You get choice. You get multiple party them. And you as the individual, when you don't pick person for let it work for you, you get forget that time when a mandate. But at the end of a mandate, you get an opportunity for look back and say, this one I've been take. I'm not too satisfied. Now that happened in 2018. There was a mandate where APC been get. The people then say, no, we're not satisfied. This trip, we vote other person in. And that's what they did. But every 5 years, na cycle.
Right.
So when it comes to waiting for tell people, now for tell them say, democracy, multi-party democracy, gives you the power, gives you the choice. And we, when I say we, any government where they in governance get a responsibility for honor that choice. But the people themselves get responsibility for not be violent. Hearing the question of protest. I read the letter, not the letter, the speech of the EU ambassador where he gave on Friday, na the youth event. And he writes say, him being part of a protest when he had been student, because they may want to introduce student fees in university when it ever happened before.
Right.
He said the police then guard them, and the protest went on fine, and the government been changed their mind. So the question now, and again, let us say emphatically, without any caveat, completely jara. I don't know how for put again for let you be very clear. Say I not get no hands whatsoever in the organization of that protest day. waiting, people then seen on social media, now me self see, me not even listen audio. If person send audio to me, you know then voice note, person is send, I can text them back, please text, I can't download. Why? I don't get patience. Even if you want to give me message, Samuel, writer, because that's in I scan and quick. When I audio, you get to sit down and listen.
Right.
I don't get patience. So I know I'm not supposed to really listen audios. But what I can say is, coming back to your point,
Yes.
waiting for tell people then for no say, the only way a country, a nation, a city can grow and get development in a way you get peace and stability.
All right, let me run through some messages quickly on Facebook. Interestingly, Thomas Kamara is saying, Samuel, well, when our police focus on making sure procession or protests go on well, rather trying to stop it or interrupt them. If only their energy is geared towards making sure the procession goes on well and safely, devoid of destruction, rather preventing them from doing, in my opinion, the outcomes would be better. My reference point is the Limcoquing students. How many police officers, how much does it take the police to make sure that procession goes on well versus what it turned out to be back then? Okay. Honestly, it is the politicians that are using the tribal card. There is intermarriage between tribes, so I am looking forward to a way wherein a pure multi-party democracy will be spread to all corners of the country. Sierra Leoneans were all one under God. Abubakar Rashid is saying, we Freetonians respect our paramount chiefs and elder in high esteem. My whole life in Freetown, I have never witnessed tribalism. We are all together. Sine Yusuf Bangura is saying that, take it or leave it, the politicians are the real problems of the current state of our country. Samuel would agree with me that Sierra Leoneans love each other. Yes, we do. I mean, everyone would agree with you on that. We do love one another. That's so Yvonne always presents herself. Okay, so like I've always admonished all of us over time since we started looking at the issue, that we're not here to blame, we're not here to disrespect people. Please, Muhammad Alim Conte is saying, can we please make this woman president for just 5 years? That's up to you. You can go. You can go without the ballot box. I think in this morning, the same incident, we will address, like those days in the 60s and 50s, you know, it would be nice. Okay? So many messages. Unemployment or hardship is never a reason to be lawless. There are chiefdom youth farms, car wash projects in every district. As I am typing, I graduated with a second-class degree since 2016. Until this time, I don't have a job. Do I need to be lawless or abuse government? We should condemn this act. Jesus Ibobo is saying that. Samuel, the mayor, is our Freetonian's paramount chief. I am appealing without disrespect to our people from the provinces to respect her as they do to their paramount chiefs. Interesting. We are one indeed. The mayor has just displayed tribal togetherness, and this was a fantastic cultural demonstration by all tribes. Lahai Darami is saying. Philip Kroma is saying we should be seen preaching togetherness as opposed to preaching hate. We are all one people. Let's preach peace and unity. Let the perpetrators face the wrath of the law. Mayor Yvonne is a leader who knows how to collectively bring everyone in unity. The celebration of Freetown 230 years showed a clear picture of a mother who wants to see Freetown Australia in a true place where the youth children can be proud of. So many messages. But just quickly, Madam Mayor, as we round off, what's the message to Freetonians and Sierra Leoneans in general? I mean, with regards keeping the peace, stability, the quiet and tranquility of a nation like Sierra Leone. That is in search of its soul. Yeah.
So I think saying a lot of the messages that we come confirm what we know. You know, the reality is the action. Not to social media write-ups them, where people then they do for try for discredit person. The reality is the actions. So let we not get caught up by narratives where people then they push. And then they wonder where they push the negative narratives of division. Let them realize, say, you know, get for carry go before. This, as a country, we choose multi-party democracy. Now that's what constitutions say, which means everybody has the right for making their own decision, for choose whose political party they want to belong to, and whose political party they want to vote for. That's not a right, not a constitutional right. And at the same time, there's a right for protest where not for be denied through a process of never giving permissions. Like the Lincoln students say, you know, that is also important because now human rights, you know, now rights of people them. And then we get a situation now where these tragic events of last week, where from what I understand, I mean, I was so saddened for Yeri yesterday. I really cried, you know. You can cry for a person not because of what, you can cry for a person because of this learning that someone is shot, you know, and killed without arms, without stone. These things, you begin to say, what is going on, you know? Because Wednesday was terrible, but we hear about shooting and kill back Thursday, but shooting and kill back Friday, but shooting and kill back Sunday. We know for the continue. You know, the thing, this year we supposed to done done. And now it's a question of an investigation. So if investigation they happen, kill not for the happen, because kill not a part of the judicial process. So you get a question of rights to law. And on that point, I understand, say, speaking to lawyers, say over 400 people have been arrested, but there's no information, and most significantly, they're not getting access to legal representation as of yesterday. I don't know if it don't change today. But again, that's a question of rights, you know? So we get this multi-party democracy, we get the freedom for choose, that's what the Constitution says. Governments get responsibility for allow expression within the rule of law. We get a situation where it don't happen. Now, His Excellency the President talks say it do investigation. So there's a list going around on social media of people that say waiting for pickup. I'm on the list. Then we also have government spokespeople continue for the call me name and the names of others. That should stop.
Okay.
That should stop, because if we look, wait till we see on the video not to film we act, not to be say, you know, camera lights, you know, action. No, that was real. That was spontaneous. That was Freetonians.
Okay.
So if we don't do that and show that, and this is our reality, let we build that one day. Let we not allow people them for lie and we. Let we not allow people them for divide we. Let we not say September registration they start. If you the exercise you democratic right, go and register. That is the way we operate peacefully in a multi-party democracy.
Thank you very much, Mayor Yvonne Akisoya of Freetown City. It's been a pleasure having you here.